Good afternoon and welcome to the School of Education Alumni Awards Program. We are honored to finally celebrate the 2020 and 2021 Hall of Fame and Practitioners of Distinction here on our campus. We also have several family and friends joining us on live stream. Thank you for joining us for this truly special occasion. Today we honor the 6th and 7th classes of the Hall of Fame and 4th and 5th classes of the Practitioners of Distinction, 19 alumni in total. Today's honorees join just 39 others who have been recognized for their esteemed contributions to education. We have a few past inductees of the Hall of Fame and Practitioners of Distinction in the audience today. I ask that they stand and be recognized for their commitment to education. The selection of the School of Education Hall of Fame and Practitioners of Distinction is made each year by the School of Education Board of Advisors. Will members of the advisors in attendance today please stand so we can recognize you as well. In bestowing the 2020 Alumni Awards, I have asked 4 of our outstanding students to join us to each of our recipients' contributions to education. Will Katie Mullins please come forward to present the 6th class of the School of Education Hall of Fame?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Katie Lee Mullins, and I'm a doctoral student in the elementary education program. I have the honor of introducing the 2020 inductees of the University of Mississippi School of Education Hall of Fame. As I introduce each of our Hall of Fame inductees, I ask that they make their way to the front of the room to be recognized. The first Hall of Fame I will recognize is Dr. David Beckley. The 2 words that one can use to best describe Dr. David Beckley's life and career are inspiring service. He has dedicated more than 50 years of service to education, specifically in college administration. He received his master's degree and doctorate in higher education from the University of Mississippi and later served as the president of Wiley College in Marshall, Texas, until 1993. He returned to Mississippi and was appointed president of Rust College, where he remained for 27 years, becoming the longest tenured senior college president in the state. Dr. Beckley is also a U.S. Army veteran with service in Vietnam. Dr. Beckley, thank you for your example of incredible leadership and distinguished service to higher education in Mississippi and beyond. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Beckley on his induction into the SOE Hall of Fame. Ann Henson, as described by her nominator, exemplifies the highest service and experience in early childhood education. After earning her bachelor's degree in elementary education and master's in special education from the University of Mississippi, Mrs. Henson spent her 40-plus year career advocating for the health, wellness, and educational opportunities for all children in Mississippi, including her roles at the Early Education Center, the Mississippi Department of Mental Health, and the University of Southern Mississippi's Institute for Disability Studies. Mrs. Henson has also given back to her alma mater in countless ways, including her service as the board president for the University of Mississippi School of Education Alumni Advisory Board. Mrs. Henson, your heart for service and inclusion not only has better served all children across the state, but it has also set a path for students like me to continue working to advocate for learners of all abilities. Please join me in congratulating Mrs. Ann Henson on her induction into the School of Education Hall of Fame. The desire to always want to teach is a trait Beverly Johnston and I share, and thousands of students across Mississippi have benefited from her passion, persistence, and commitment to excellence. Mrs. Johnston earned her master's in educational leadership from the University of Mississippi in 1993. And served more than 28 years in Mississippi public education, including 20 years as either assistant principal or principal of Madison Station Elementary School. Under her leadership, Madison Station Elementary earned an A-star, or Level 5 Superior Performance, ranking in Mississippi's accountability model every year since 2000, and the school was the first in the district to achieve the National Blue Ribbon School Award. She was named twice as Madison County's Administrator of the Year in 2004 and 2017. After retiring in 2017, she has served her undergraduate alma mater, Delta State University, as well as Mississippi College in various instructional and field supervisory roles. Mrs. Johnston, you are a true example of what it means to be a lifelong educator. Please join me in congratulating Mrs. Johnston on her induction into the School of Education Hall of Fame. Few individuals can say that they had a leading role in changing a state's entire system of public education. We are proud that our own Dr. Andy Mullins is one of these leaders. Dr. Mullins' 50 years in education has spanned from teaching high school to assisting in creating the Education Reform Act of 1982, to serving as special assistant to 3 state superintendents of education and 3 University of Mississippi chancellors. One of his proudest and longest legacies was co-founding the Mississippi Teacher Corps, and over 30 years ago. The Teacher Corps paved an alternative route for educators to receive teacher licensure, while also serving the most underprivileged schools and students in Mississippi. Dr. Mullins has been a mentor to many in education, but to most of all, his family. His passion for education runs deep in his blood, and I'm lucky enough to call this leader in education my father. Please join me in congratulating my dad, Dr. Andy Mullins, on his induction into the School of Education Hall of Fame. Our final 2020 Hall of Fame inductee, Rose Jackson Flanoral, is the recipient of the Outstanding Education Service Award. The School of Education Board of Advisors added this distinguished award to honor a friend of the University of Mississippi School of Education who has demonstrated exemplary service and support for the field of education at the community, state, or national level, while serving in traditionally non-academic career paths. Mrs. Flanoral has more than 30 years of experience working in marketing, communications, and corporate social responsibility. She is manager of the FedEx Global Citizenship Group and has been instrumental in the design and execution of the company's major citizenship initiatives in the areas of global entrepreneurship, sustainable logistics, and diversity and inclusion. As a student, Mrs. Flanoral was the first Black woman named to the University of Mississippi Student Hall of Fame and was honored by Glamour magazine as one of the top 10 college women in the United States. She was inducted to the Ole Miss Alumni Hall of Fame in 1998. As her nominator shared, Rose has been an ambassador of goodwill, improvement, and change throughout her life. She has made the university, FedEx, our country, and our world a better place through her leadership. Her impact is incalculable, and we are proud she is an alumna of our School of Education. Mrs. Flanoral, thank you for paving the way for so many educators, leaders, and community advocates. Please join me in congratulating on her induction into the School of Education Hall of Fame. May we have one more round of applause for our 2020 inductees of the School of Education Hall of Fame. I would now like to invite Austin Jones, our next presenter, to come forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Austin Jones, and I'm a senior second-year education major and a student representative on the SEOE Board of Advisors. I will be graduating this year with a Bachelor's of Art in Education and then becoming a high school teacher at Biloxi High School this fall. Tonight, I have the honor Tonight, I have the honor of introducing the 2021 inductees of the University of Mississippi's School of Education Hall of Fame. The 6 individuals who will be inducted tonight have contributed great in service, knowledge, and impact to their professions and their communities. By special provision and consideration of the Board of Advisors, an alum may be posthumously recognized in the School of Education's Hall of Fame. The Board of Advisors has elected to induct Dr. Min-Young Chen with this special consideration. She is tonight's first honoree. Dr. Chen dedicated her life to supporting and challenging students. Over a span of 17 years, Dr. Chen served as a high school science teacher, academic advisor, program administrator, adjunct professor, and alumni engagement associate. She served at colleges and universities in Ohio and Florida before returning to her home state of Mississippi to earn her PhD from UM in 2013. She accepted a role at the University of Mississippi's Medical Center following her graduation, where she developed, implemented, and helped oversee a professional student organization, the Student Alumni Representative, or STARS program, that was the first of its kind within UMMC. The STARS program continues to thrive and serve UMMC students and alumni today. Her professional excellence, coupled with a strong dedication to her community engagement in Canton and Jackson areas, and her lifelong legacy of excellence will leave an indelible mark on Mississippi. Dr. Chen passed away after a courageous battle against cancer in 2017. Dr. Chen's mother and father, Ruby and Henry Chen, and her sister Cheryl are here to accept Dr. Chen's award. Please join us in celebrating Dr. Min-Young Chen on her induction into the School of Education's Hall of Fame. I will now introduce our next honoree. Passion, perseverance, and purpose are 3 intertwined qualities that best personify Dr. Barbara Howard. A 2-time graduate of the University of Mississippi in biology and curriculum and instruction, Dr. Howard has a strong interest and dedication to community, scholarship, and advocacy. She has been in the field of education since 1994, teaching at the elementary, secondary, and post-secondary levels. And throughout her career, she has maintained a passion for STEM educating and supporting first-generation students like herself so that they can access and succeed in education. Dr. Howard has excelled in the areas of advising, mentoring, and teaching during her time at Jackson State University, where she currently serves as an associate professor of educational leadership. Her academic work and dedication to community engagement have garnered several accolades, including her department's Exemplary Teaching Award and the Ole Miss Alumni Association's Black Alumni Advisory Council's Reverend Wayne Johnson Community and Civic Award, both in 2018. Dr. Howard, your leadership, your research, and your service are making a difference for students across Mississippi. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Barbara Howard on her induction into the School of Education's Hall of Fame. I will now introduce our next honoree. A lifelong learner and education advocate, Dr. Cindy Lee embodies what it means to be a great educator. She is passionate about many aspects of education, specifically early childhood education, gifted learning programs, and brain and mindfulness research, and even helped a fellow faculty member, Mrs. Linton Dilly, design playgrounds. As a 3-time graduate of the School of Education and a longtime faculty member, Dr. Lee's everlasting impact on students remains one of her greatest legacies. She notes that the most meaningful experience throughout her career was seeing her students become outstanding educators. Dr. Lee, because of family like you, I too hope to be one of those outstanding, dedicated, and passionate teachers for my students. Thank you for all you have done for our School of Education community and your continued example of what it means to be a lifelong educator. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Cindy Lee on her induction into the School of Education's Hall of Fame. I will now introduce our next honoree. After graduating from the School of Education with her bachelor's, Mrs. Patricia Nolly launched an inspiring educational career in Maryland. Mrs. Nolly served as a distinguished teacher, principal, and Board of Education member for the Anne Arundel County Public Schools in Maryland, the 43rd largest school district in the country, from 1970 to 2018. During this time, she also served in several professional development capacities, including gifted and talented programs, the International Baccalaureate Advisory Board, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation Environmental Education, and she was nominated for the Washington Post Distinguished Educational Leadership Award. Her career milestones are impressive and numerous, but her dedication to her community makes her stand out. Her nominators describe Mrs. Nolly as a leader of leaders who has delivered nothing but passion and charisma at every step of her career. Mrs. Nolly, your leadership at all levels of administration, coupled with a fierce commitment to your community, inspires students like me to pursue teaching with a continued passion for improvement and growth. Please join me in congratulating Patricia Nolly on her induction into the School of Education's Hall of Fame. I will now introduce the next honoree. Dr. Judy Trott's service to the University of Mississippi is best described as a life calling. The daughter of a math professor, Dr. Trott's roots at begin to grow at a young age. She earned her bachelor's in physical education and master's in education before spending a short time teaching in Virginia and Maryland. She returned to the University of Mississippi in 1966 and never left. Dr. Trott's legacy at includes roles as Panhellenic Advisor, Director of Residence Life, Director of Student Services, and Dean of Students. She has counseled and supported thousands of students throughout her career and remains an active member of our and Oxford community even after retirement, including service to St. Peter's Episcopal Church and Alpha Psi of Delta Gamma. Her nominators share that she is a stranger to none and a true friend to all. Dr. Trott, thank you for your endless guidance for students and for helping to make our campus community a better place. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Judy Trott on her induction into the School of Education's Hall of Fame. I will now introduce our last honoree, Dr. Donald Cole. Our final 2021 Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. Donald Cole, is the recipient of the Outstanding Education Service Award. By education and work experience, Dr. Cole is a mathematician, but through his life experiences, he's a change maker and a mentor. A native of Jackson, Mississippi, he enrolled at as an engineering major in 1968. After participating in a protest to improve the experience of African American students on campus, he was expelled from the university in 1970. He returned in the early 1980s to earn his PhD, served as a mathematics professor for 25 years, and later became an assistant to the Chancellor for Multicultural Affairs and assistant provost. His relationship with the university spanned more than 50 years when he retired in 2018. During his academic tenure, Dr. Cole has received numerous accolades, and perhaps the most prestigious and meaningful was the recent renaming of the Student Services Building to the Martindale Cole Student Services Center in his honor. His passion, dedication, and commitment to supporting all students and helping new faculty succeed has always been clear to anyone who has known him. Dr. Cole, thank you for paving the way for so many students like me to pursue my passions and to achieve my dreams. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Donald Cole on his induction into the School of Education's Hall of Fame. Well, may we have one more round of applause for all of our 2021 inductees of the School of Education's Hall of Fame. I would like to now invite Nia Thompson to come forward and present our next set of awards.
Hello, my name is Naya Thompson, and I am a secondary English education major. Since 2017, the School of Education Board of Advisors has selected 4 alumni to be honored as practitioners of distinction. These individuals imagine, innovate, and inspire the fields of P through 12 teaching, higher education, educational leadership, counseling, and more through professional practice. I am proud to announce the 4th class of practitioners of distinction honored for the year 2020. Chris Chisholm never expected to have a career in education. He came from a family of engineers and completed 4 years of engineering school at the University of Florida before pursuing a new passion, teaching. He taught at Hernando High School when one of his mentors encouraged him to apply to the Principal Corps program at UM. He earned his master's degree in 2011 and became principal of Pearl High School. His district recently named him the 2021 through 2022 Administrator of the Year, and he will become Pearl's next superintendent beginning the 2022 through 2023 school year. Mr. Chisholm unfortunately cannot be here today, as he is on his way to the coast to cheer on his son's baseball team as they enter the second round of the playoffs. Please let us give Mr. Chisholm a round of applause for his recognition as a practitioner of distinction. Dr. Johnny Maddox's love for higher education and science has led him to a career that spans 4 decades and continues today. Dr. Maddox earned his bachelor's in secondary education and master's in biology, and a doctorate in secondary education, all from the University of Mississippi. His service in the classroom has spanned more than 45 years across secondary and college classrooms. He is currently the Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs, Chair of the Department for Mathematics and Natural Sciences, and Professor of Biology at Blue Mountain College. Thank you, Dr. Maddox, for inspiring decades of students to explore science and enhancing education across Mississippi. Please join me in congratulating Practitioner Distinction, Dr. Johnny Maddox. Dr. Kelly Sumrall's career path in education is a testament to her passion for lifelong learning. She received 3 degrees from the University of Mississippi School of Education. After receiving her doctorate and becoming an adjunct instructor, she felt called back to the classroom. She has served as a science teacher in Lafayette Middle School and has published her activities and lessons in both nationally and internationally practice-based, peer-reviewed journals. In 2020, she was also named Mississippi Boys Bowling Coach of the Year, leading the Commodores to the state title in her first year of coaching. Dr. Sumrall, thank you for always putting your students first and for continuing to make a difference in the classroom. Please join me in congratulating Practitioner Distinction, Dr. Kelly Sumrall. Throughout her career in education, Joanne Weber has focused on improving her students' health and well-being, and continues to do so today with the integration of technology in her classes. She received her bachelor's and master's from the School of Education, and currently serves as a physical education instructor and cross-country coach at West Collierville Middle School. Through her passion for promoting healthy lifestyles, Mrs. Weber has found creative ways to integrate technology, like utilizing polar heart rate monitors, iPads, and creating podcasts and ebooks to encourage her students to practice healthier habits. Thank you, Mrs. Weber, for your creative approaches to health and wellness, and for inspiring students to think about health and wellness in a different lens. Please join me in congratulating Practitioner Distinction, Joanne Weber. And may we have one more round of applause for our 2020 Practitioners of Distinction. I would now like to invite Azuria Curry to come forward and present our final set of awards.
My name is Azuria Curry, and I'm a sophomore secondary English education major. It is my honor to introduce you all to the 2021 Practitioners of Distinction. Mary Jane Jackson is a friend and a mentor. And enthusiastic for social studies and geography, she served as an educator in Mississippi Public Schools and the Mississippi Geographic Alliance for 35 years. Her numerous nominators describe Mary Jane as one of the most enthusiastic, passionate, well-traveled, sincere, and dynamic teachers in the state. Mary Jane's love for geography has taken her all over the world and across the state, especially with her service on the Mississippi Council for the Social Studies. In 2015, she was recognized by the Mississippi Geographic Alliance for outstanding geographic education. Thank you, Mrs. Jackson, for inspiring hundreds of students to explore, discover, and experience Mississippi and beyond. Please join me in congratulating Practitioner of Distinction, Mary Jane Jackson. Dr. R. Britt Katz exemplifies the practice of leadership and mentorship. His 35-plus year career in college and higher education began here in Mississippi and has taken him to institutions such as Mississippi State, the University of Southern Mississippi, the University of Louisiana Monroe, Emory University, Millsaps College, and now to the University of South Carolina, upstate. Perhaps his most influential years were spent at Millsaps College, where he served as Dean of Students and Vice President of Student Life for 16 years. While his career has been exceptionally defined by the institutions he has served, it's his attention and dedication to his students that sets him apart from the rest. Thank you, Dr. Katz, for always putting students first and for exemplifying what it means to be a thoughtful, dedicated, and compassionate student affairs professional. Dr. Britt Katz could not make it, but please join me in congratulating him. Tiffany Pollard pushes her students to reach their full potential. After earning her bachelor's and master's in education from the School of Education, Mrs. Pollard taught social studies, English, language arts, broadcast journalism, and print journalism at several districts across Mississippi. She is currently teaching at West Harrison High School in Gulfport. Throughout her career, Mrs. Pollard has earned several Teacher of the Year distinctions and has been recognized as the Mississippi Scholastic Press Association's 2020 Yearbook Advisor of the Year. Coincidentally enough, Mrs. Pollard was one of my teachers at West Harrison High School. She fearlessly led and supported our student council and was always there when I needed to rant or cry or share good news. She is one of the many reasons I chose to major in education, and I admire her endlessly. Please join me in congratulating Practitioner of Distinction, Tiffany Pollard. Dr. Patrick Washington is a strong advocate for leading, inspiring, and empowering others to achieve excellence. He earned both his master's and doctorate from the School of Education and now concurrently serves as the executive director of Promise Academic Academy, Spring Hill in Memphis, Tennessee, and the founder and CEO of Man Up Teacher Fellowship, a robust program to recruit men of color to the teaching profession. Among several other educational leadership roles in Mississippi, Dr. Washington also served as the first African American superintendent for Benton County Schools. Thank you, Dr. Washington, for your enthusiastic passion for improving education and cultivating the next generations of outstanding student leaders. Please join me in congratulating Practitioner of Distinction, Dr. Patrick Washington. May we have one more round of applause for our 2021 Practitioners of Distinction. I would now like to invite Dean Rock back to the podium to offer our closing.
Awesome. Great job. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon here in Johnson Commons and on live stream as we celebrate our 2020 and 2021 School of Education Hall of Fame and Practitioners of Distinction. Award winners and families, please stick around as we take group photos here in front of the ballroom. Award winners are encouraged to take the centerpiece on your table. The vases on your table were painted by our preschool students at the Willie Price Lab School here on campus. They were hand-painted by those children, so please do not leave them. Wow, that's the thing that excited everyone the most. They did an outstanding job. For our Board of Advisors in attendance, we will be convening for our spring meeting beginning at 2:15 in the banquet hall, the entrance that's behind the double doors to my right over here. Thank you to all the faculty and staff and students who have volunteered to help make this event, 2 years in the making, a huge success. Amy Williams, Kelly Smith-Marion, Amy Wells-Dolan, Billy Cruz, Katie Nairn, Cam Bracey, Nikki Doust, Mo Khalid, Nick Sisk, Sally Kwong, Dr. Phyllis George, Suzette Matthews, Rebecca Phillips, and several Column Society members and School of Education ambassadors are among these individuals. Thank you all very much for your service. And we also want to especially recognize our student presenters, Katie Mullen, Austin Jones, Nia Thompson, Azuria Curry, for introducing our award winners. We were able to share this event with our educators across Mississippi and beyond, thanks to Nolan Production Group and behind the scenes work on the live stream. So thank you to all of those individuals and our students who were involved. Finally, everyone is invited to join us tonight from 4:30 to 6:30 for our Ice Cream SOE Social at the Oxford Creamery on the Square. All students, faculty, staff, and alumni and friends of the School of Education are invited to join us at the Oxford Creamery. We hope you will join us for some fun and some social, and of course, lots of ice cream and coffee. We hope to see you tonight. That's all for us today. Thank you very much for your attendance, and thank you all to the honorees. We are truly blessed to have you as part of the SOE family. Thank you very much.